girls! So welcome back to Favorite Friday. For the first case for this week, we are going back to California. This case is unfortunately another child death case. So just a heads up on that, in case that's something that you don't want to listen to right now. I perfectly understand. I have other cases down below that are not child death cases. But this case should be more talked about because the only reason I really found out about this case is thanks to the first source. True Red Crime. Of course, I gave credit to him down below. I think he should be the first source because that's where I got pretty much all my information from this case. And so, with that being said, if anybody knows of this case, because this is California and the mother, I think, did eventually get sentenced to death row, but I could be wrong. I'll have to go check my notes so that I'm not telling you lies over here. Definitely let me know. And so, if you knew anybody involved in the case, whether it be the victim, even though she was only 4, if you knew the mother, if you knew the siblings or a victim, anybody, just let me know. Sources down below as always. I'm gonna quit my rambling and let's go get started. So we're gonna start with Genny. Now her government name is Genevieve, but she's referred to in sources as Genny, because obviously that's Genevieve shortened. So I'll refer to her as Genny. So Genny Monique Rojas was born on January 13th, 1991. So at age 2 years old, she gets taken away from her mother and her father after Genny's father had apparently pled guilty to raping Genny's half-sister, who was 6 at the time. So then she gets placed with the custody of her Aunt Veronica and Uncle Ivan. So then in April 1994, so Genny would be like 3 at the time, she gets taken away from Veronica because apparently there's allegations of neglect. So they get put with their grandmother, and then their grandmother, I guess, didn't want to deal with them. So they get put with Anita, who was her daughter, and Anita, I guess, was married. So I guess Anita and her husband. So then Anita and her husband, I guess they dealt with her for like 4 months, and they gave them back to the grandmother. So in February 1995, the grandmother, I guess she really decided, I don't want to take care of these kids anymore. So she sent Genny and her siblings back over to Veronica and Ivan, who already had 6 kids of their own that they had apparently together. So then apparently Veronica was born in 1968 and Ivan was born in 1966. I don't have a date of birth on them, but they will obviously become very important to the story, as you'll see later. Now, on the fateful day of June 21st, 1995, apparently neighbors were nearby Ivan's window for some reason. So apparently they would later tell the police that they heard a loud thud and a child crying. So Ivan, because I guess the window was actually open as to how they were able to hear what was going on, he winds up closing the window that was open and then leaves to go to the store. He goes and gets milk, bread, and beer, and then comes back. And then apparently a neighbor by the name of Patty would say she heard Veronica screaming, saying that Genny had been burned in the bathtub. Of course, I guess Patty ain't come over by this point and asking, how did she burn herself? And I guess Veronica was saying, don't call the police, which you already know is pretty shady, because, why would you want the police to, help get this child some help? So apparently Patty did not know CPR, but she had a sister named Naomi who did. And there was, a source saying that Naomi was a nurse, but I couldn't confirm this, but apparently she did know CPR. So she goes and gets her sister Naomi, and Naomi's saying, call the police. Again, Veronica ain't trying to call the police, because you already know she's up to no good. And then Naomi tries to do CPR on Genny, but she's like, look, Jenny's already dead. Of course, police then arrive on the scene, and then Naomi actually left, which I don't know how she was allowed to after police got there, but oh well. So then Veronica, of course, tells police that, oh, well, I ran the bath water for Genny, because again, she's 4? And I left her in the bathtub alone for 20 minutes while I went to go to the kitchen to go make some food. I come back, Genny is on, and then I come back to see Genny underwater. So then the homicide and child abuse investigators are then called onto the scene. So then a fireman was actually trying to do CPR himself, but apparently Jenny's jaw was hard to move, indicating rigor mortis, meaning that she had actually been dead way longer than just less than an hour, because apparently rigor mortis has to kick in for at least a couple hours for her jaw to be even hard to move. So apparently an autopsy will be done the next day, and then it said that apparently there was a burn on top of her head, her scalp, that had been infected and was at least a week old. I remember this is the day after she apparently had died. And then apparently the skin on her ears had eroded. And then both her cheeks apparently had burn marks matching the hairdryer. Similar marks were apparently found on one of her shoulders and her left bicep. And her lips were lacerated. Her cause of death was actually said to have been burns on the lower part of her body. And they actually believe that she was held down into the water and not just chilling in the water willingly. Because again, this is a 4-year-old child. She's in pain. She's also going to try to get out. The bathtub, when they did try to investigate, as you can imagine, was actually dry. Not still with water like you would think if you just left her in for a bath. And they did find human skin in the bathtub, and that was confirmed to have been Genny. And for some reason, one of the bedrooms had a string attached to one end, like a string to a doorknob on one end, and then the other end was like and then there was a nightstand attached to the other end. There was a blanket found with Jenny's DNA on it. Didn't specify what the DNA was, but apparently it was her DNA. So I would like to assume blood, or mention it, but it didn't say. Apparently there was blood-stained evidence found in the closet of this bedroom. So apparently, so as far as the closet goes, apparently the doors of the closet were taken off the hinges. As far as the indoor of said closet doors, apparently they were covered in blood, and there was a wooden box on the ground about 2 feet in every dimension, so width, height, and apparently it will later come out that that box had blood and feces in it. And then also apparently there was a bloody footprint found in the room. It never publicly specified who the footprint belonged to. It just said there was a bloody footprint. And of course, they eventually talked to Ivan, and Ivan said, look, Jenny actually wasn't potty trained. Not that that would justify the stuff that they found in the closet, obviously. And apparently, he actually claimed that he was the one who turned on the bathwater for Jenny that day that she died, and that he actually told Veronica to go check on her. And that he did heard the loud thud and was going to check on his own kids, but not Jenny. I guess he assumed Jenny was alright, despite the fact she was in the tub and could have fell out. But I guess he didn't consider that. And that's the reason why he left, because neighbors wouldn't say that, oh yeah, he did leave. And then he came back to Veronica basically pleading for her to get Jenny some help because she had fell out the tub. So then, of course, they were trying to ask, like, what were the previous burns that were on her? And he would try to say that, oh, well, she had accidentally put boiling hot water, or her, like, there was a pot of boiling hot water in the kitchen, and that her, being the clumsy, like, 4-year-olds are, she apparently had knocked it over on herself, and that's what caused the burns to herself. And then, of course, when asked, why didn't you get medical attention, like most people would, we didn't have her insurance card, because remember, this is her aunt and uncle. So even if she had insurance, we don't have that information, and they were going to pay out of pocket for somebody who's not even their own kid. And then they tried to explain the ligature marks, because apparently there are still basically there were marks that you would get from strangulation on her neck, and they tried to say, oh, there were neighborhood kids that pulled on her from a candy necklace, because you know kids they want candy, and kids can be reckless sometimes. He would, however, admit to making Jenny sleep in the closet 3 or 4 times. He would apparently admit to putting hooks in the said closet, and apparently it was said that she apparently would be hanging from those hooks in the closet occasionally. It said that he put her in the wooden box at times to scare her, but he would deny apparently restraining her with handcuffs. But apparently he would say that Veronica did restrain her using cloth one time. Then Ivan and Veronica apparently had a son named Ivan Jr., who was at the time 8. He testifies, I guess, at his cousin's murder trial, and says that, look, Jenny actually was potty trained, didn't have any accidents. She did not sleep in the room with us. She actually slept in the room with them, or she slept in the tub. And when she was in the tub, she was bound. And that they also pulled her hair, and that he had multiple times actually seen her in his parents' room with her hands tied. Like in his parents' closet, and said that their kids, remember their 6 biological kids, ate in the kitchen. I guess it seemed like they weren't getting abused like at all. Which I can find. Jenny, when she was allowed to eat, because I would be surprised if they had tried to starve her, she was made to stay in their room. So then, of course, Ivan Jr., being the good kid that he was and feeling bad for his cousin, he would try to feed her, and he would unfortunately get punished whenever he tried to feed Jenny. So I guess when something was trying to help the defense, apparently, at some point in the story, because I don't know when he came over, but apparently a nephew of Patty and Naomi, because they're supposed to be sisters apparently, so a nephew of both of them, so I guess they have another sister that's not mentioned, he would say that, oh, I tried to do CPR on Jenny and I had no trouble with her jaw. Because remember I said the firefighter had trouble with her jaw because it's believed that she'd already been dead for a good minute. So yeah, I guess that was trying to help the defense. So then a sister of Ivan would apparently come out and say that Veronica was actually abusive. Ivan apparently would tell Luna, who I guess was his sister, would say that apparently Ivan Jr., who was their son, apparently saw a man kissing Veronica. So then, of course, Ivan would apparently later ask that man about it, and that he confessed, saying that the affair happened when I was about 16 or 17, and that she could see one of my kids around that time. And then nothing really is mentioned after that. Another thing is also mentioned publicly, but kind of really has nothing to do with the case, is that one night, apparently, Veronica and Ivan were out drinking, and apparently, Ivan kicked the dashboard. Sorry, Veronica had actually kicked the dashboard, and then cussed at Ivan after he tried to roll up the car window. And so police were called. Ivan actually got maced, and Veronica was the one who actually got arrested. At one point in the relationship, it's actually said that Ivan apparently had climbed a utility pole to get away from Veronica after a fight that they had. Because apparently, according to people that knew Veronica, they were saying that she's actually the abusive one. And then the police actually had to order them down themselves. So a little twist, it's actually said that somebody named Nigarette, which I'm putting her name on the screen because I don't know if I even said that right. It's actually said that she apparently had to go get Veronica from Ivan because Ivan was actually the one that's being abused. And then there's other people saying that they'd actually seen Ivan pretty much hit Veronica multiple times. And then at one point, apparently somebody had actually seen Ivan hitting one son with a baseball bat while kicking another son. And I guess a final piece of information, I guess basically trying to show Ivan as being possibly have been abusive, was that apparently he had punched out a car window. So then apparently Ivan, they were trying to go for the death penalty, understandably. And apparently they couldn't get a unanimous, so like all 12 people saying yes, this man does deserve death penalty. So then there's a retrial. So then Ivan apparently brings in like 4 pages of documents and like expert witnesses. So then fast forward to 1998, they both luckily are sentenced to death, where apparently they're still actually on death row at the time of this video. And in 2011, I guess they tried to appeal around that time, but luckily their death sentences they didn't, y'all may have appealed, but y'all ain't getting on death row, essentially. And so yeah, that's the case of Genny Rojas. That's one of the many child death cases you see out there that are not as well known. Again, shout out to True Red Crime for opening up this case to me, because I literally did not know about Genny Rojas prior to him covering this case. So I guess if you're not subscribed to True Red Crime like I am, definitely go give him his flowers, because he's definitely an underrated creator as well. And so with that being said, definitely your thoughts down below. Like I said, if you do my involved with the case, let me know. I cover fatal females 2 times a week. Subscribe for fatal females. I'll see you guys next one. Bye.
Dead, will you regret everything that you did, that you said? I don't think you understand what you're doing, and my heart's black and blue from the bruising. I feel like